Kirby Smart allows one narrative and one narrative alone around his football program, or at least he tries. What is that narrative, you might be asking? It's his narrative. No different than any other CEO or owner or VP of any business. If you own something, if something is a direct representation of you, all right, then it is a direct representation of you. You will run it how you want to run it. The narrative coming out of that organization better be a little tied to you, right? It better be a little spun towards your direction if you're a good CEO, if you're a good business owner, if you're a good operator of any type of public relation department, right? You better have some type of control, okay? So when you're Kirby Smart and the narrative that you want to continue to drive home this offseason and into this fall camp is that you don't have a starting quarterback and that you have a quarterback competition, right? That's very clearly the narrative he wants. Not named a starter. No, won't. Probably won't. You won't hear it. Why? He don't want that narrative. He wants the narrative. There is a quarterback competition. So if that's what you want, what do? Well, despite giving the overwhelming majority of reps to Carson Beck during the spring game, and despite Carson Beck taking those reps and very clearly playing like the best quarterback available that day on national television, by the way, and despite the fact that Carson Beck dominated, and despite the fact that everyone kind of knows that, without some type of drastic event or some type of major change to occur, that Carson Beck is the starting quarterback at the University of Georgia. We all, if you have a semblance of knowledge into that building, right, that is the vibe coming out of that building. So despite all of that, there will be no Carson Beck at SEC Media Days next week. He won't be. He will not be there. In fact, Kirby Smart, it was announced today, will be taking Cedric Van Pran-Granger, Brock Bowers, and Kamari Lassiter to Nashville with him this year for the SEC Media Days. All three warranted, all three definitely deserving, all three not a quarterback. All three not the supposed face of your offensive organization, okay? And I will be honest, because that's all I ever do on this channel, for most quarterbacks that have done what Carson Beck has done, I don't know, guys. I don't know how I would sit if I were 22, 21 years old with the things that are going on. I mean, I wouldn't be upset, but I'm just telling you, most kids would be, okay? Most kids would be at this point. Listen to this, man. Carson Beck, sometimes people, I feel like some people forget, this is an individual who is now presumed your starting quarterback that has been sitting behind not one, but two transfer quarterbacks at the position. The moment you get him on campus, right? JT Daniels and Jamie Newman are enrolled, okay? Transferred in immediately. Then not only that, once those two guys depart from the program, he sits behind the next 2 seasons a guy that he beat out on multiple camps and multiple occasions. I think it's so often easy to forget that Carson Beck won the job and was the backup quarterback at the University of Georgia, leaving the spring in 2021 and leaving fall camp in the fall of 2021, entering the Clemson game. Carson Beck won the backup job twice and then sat behind the guy that he beat for 2 more years. Think about that, guys. Did you know right now, today, that Carson Beck is the only quarterback from the 2020 signing class that has not either started a game at the school that he signed at or have entered the transfer portal? He is literally one of one. This is a football player who has done everything right. He is not only not transferred, he's yet to be named the starter by his coach. His coach won't even bring him to SEC Media Days because he wants to avoid the headline. And I'll give Kirby Smart some credit, and you should too, as a fan or anyone watching tonight. Kirby Smart don't want to do it. You know why? Because as soon as he takes Carson Beck to SEC Media Days, you know what articles are going to be written by everyone in the beat, probably Dogs Daily included. Quote, I can see the headlines right now. Carson Beck going to SEC Media Days. Quote, what does this mean for Brock Vandagriff? They would already incite the idea that he would be entering the transfer portal. So, to avoid all of that, just don't take him. Just don't take him to SEC Media Days. But I will be honest with you. How many football players at the quarterback position in today's day and age of college football, after all I just read to you, been sitting for 3 years, set behind? They brought 2 guys in via the transfer portal at his position, okay? Won a job twice, only to get surpassed by the upperclassman, former walk-on, sit 2 more years. I give you all of those things. Only guy in the 2020 class to not have transferred or started a football game, to tell you how one of one that dude is. Okay. It is very, very important when we talk about all of these guys. Okay. It's very, very important when we talk about all these guys that we talk through the story arc of these athletes in an accurate light, right? We have to before they get on, like try to at least, before they get onto the field, before the national media climbs onto some narrative, we have to lay the groundwork for what actually has happened. And this dude's been sitting through it for 3 years. Okay. So when he goes out and he has 4,000 yards and he throws for 35 touchdowns, okay, and the national media is talking about where did this guy come from? Please remember what he did to get here. Don't just talk about what he's about to do once he got here. You understand? I mean, Carson Beck has been so out of the media. Did you know Carson Beck got invited to the Manning Passing Academy this year? He didn't go. You know why? He went down to Jacksonville, went and worked out with Denny Thompson, the same quarterback trainer he's been working with since he was 14 years old. He just don't care. This stuff that is, I'm not going to say has happened to Carson, but the plight, the path that Carson Beck has been on, that is very much so a him path. That I don't know of any other athletes that would be doing what he's done. I don't know how many other athletes at this point in his career where it is very clearly I am the guy wouldn't walk into his coach's office and say, Coach, my agent wants to know, why aren't you marketing me? I'm clearly the starter here. Why am I not going to SEC media days? Every single quarterback that we talk about on this platform, 90% of them have to deal with that kind of chirping from their camp. I don't hear nothing like that coming out of Carson Beck's camp. In fact, all I've ever heard out of Carson Beck's camp is, I want to go get my ring and I want to be a first-round draft pick. That's it. That's all he cares about. That's all he's hyper-focused on. And the rest of the stuff, even the SEC Media Day stuff, does not matter. He clearly does not care. Oh, hey there. What you just watched was a portion of our live broadcast, Nothing But Rants, NBR, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. They're not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. If you want to join us live, we are live Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 9 p.m. here on the channel. Please subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. If you like it, there's probably more in one of these windows. We'll see you next time.